According to Matthew chapter 19. Now, when Jesus had finished these words, he departed from Galilee and came to the frontiers of Judea across the Jordan. Also, great crowds followed him, and he cured them there. And Pharisees came up to him, intent on tempting him, and saying, "Is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife on every sort of ground?" In reply, he said, "Did you not read that he who created them from the beginning made them male and female, and said, 'For this reason, a man will leave his father and his mother, and will stick to his wife, and the two will be one flesh?' So that you are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has yoked together, let no man put apart." They said to him, "Why then did Moses prescribe giving a certificate of dismissal and divorcing her?" He said to them, "Moses, out of regard for your hard-heartedness, made the concession to you of divorcing your wives. But such has not been the case from the beginning. I say to you that whoever divorces his wife, except on the grounds of fornication, and marries another, commits adultery." The disciples said to him, "If such is the situation of a man with his wife, it is not advisable to marry." He said to them, "Not all men make room for the same, but only those who have the gift. For there are eunuchs that were born such from their mother's womb, and there are eunuchs that were made eunuchs by men, and there are eunuchs that have made themselves eunuchs on account of the kingdom of the heavens. Let him that can make room for it, make room for it." Then young children were brought to him, for him to put his hands upon them and offer prayer. But the disciples reprimanded them. Jesus, however, said, "Let the young children alone, and stop hindering them from coming to me. For the kingdom of the heavens belongs to such like ones." And he put his hands upon them and went from there. Now look, a certain one came up to him and said, "Teacher, what good must I do in order to get everlasting life?" He said to him, "Why do you ask me about what is good? One there is that is good. If, though, you want me to enter into life, observe the commandments continually." He said to him, "Which ones?" Jesus said, "Why, you must not murder. You must not commit adultery. You must not steal. You must not bear false witness. Honor your father and your mother, and you must love your neighbor as yourself." The young man said to him, "I have kept all these. What yet am I lacking?" Jesus said to him, "If you want to be perfect, go sell your belongings and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. And come, be my follower." When the young man heard this saying, he went away grieved, for he was holding many possessions. But Jesus said to his disciples, "Truly I say to you, that it will be a difficult thing for a rich man to get into the kingdom of the heavens. Again I say to you, it is easier for a camel to get through a needle's eye than for a rich man to get into the kingdom of God." When the disciples heard that, they expressed very great surprise, saying, "Who really can be saved?" Looking them in the face, Jesus said to them, "With men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." Then Peter said to him in reply, "Look, we have left all things and followed you. What actually will there be for us?" Jesus said to them, "Truly I say to you, in the recreation, when the Son of Man sits down upon his glorious throne, you who have followed me will also yourselves sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And everyone that has left houses, or brothers, or sisters, or father, or mother, or children, or lands, for the sake of my name, will receive many times more, and will inherit everlasting life. But many that are first will be last, and the last first. According to Mark chapter 10. From there he rose and came to the frontiers of Judea and across the Jordan. And again crowds came together to him, and as he was accustomed to do, he again went teaching them. Pharisees now approached, and to put him to the test, began questioning him whether it was lawful for a man to divorce a wife. In answer he said to them, "What did Moses command you?" They said, "Moses allowed the writing of a certificate of dismissal and divorcing her." But Jesus said to them, "Out of regard for your hard-heartedness, he wrote you this commandment. However, from the beginning of creation, he made them male and female. On this account, a man will leave his father and mother, and the two will be one flesh, so that they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God yoked together, let no man put apart." When again in the house, the disciples began to question him concerning this, and he said to them, "Whoever divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery against her. And if ever a woman, after divorcing her husband, marries another, she commits adultery." Now people began bringing him young children for him to touch these, but the disciples reprimanded them. At seeing this, Jesus was indignant and said to them, "Let the young children come to me. Do not try to stop them, for the kingdom of God belongs to such like ones. Truly, I say to you, whoever does not receive the kingdom of God like a young child will by no means enter into it." And he took the children into his arms and began blessing them, laying his hands upon them. And as he was going out on his way, a certain man ran up and fell upon his knees before him and put the question to him, "Good teacher, what must I do to inherit everlasting life?" Jesus said to him, "Why do you call me good? Nobody is good except one, God. You know the commandments. Do not murder. Do not commit adultery. Do not steal. Do not bear false witness. Do not defraud. Honor your father and mother." The man said to him, "Teacher, all these things I have kept from my youth on." Jesus looked upon him and felt love for him and said to him, "One thing is missing about you. Go, sell what things you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven, and come be my follower." But he grew sad at the saying and went off grieved, for he was holding many possessions. After looking around, Jesus said to his disciples, "How difficult a thing it will be for those with money to inherit into the kingdom of God." But the disciples gave way to surprise at his words. In response, Jesus again said to them, "Children, how difficult a thing it is to enter into the kingdom of God. It is easier for a camel to go through a needle's eye than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God." They became still more astonished and said to him, "Who in fact can be saved?" Looking straight at them, Jesus said, "With men it is impossible, but not so with God, for all things are possible with God." Peter started to say to him, "Look, we left all things and have been following you." Jesus said, "Truly I say to you, men, No one has left house or brothers or sisters or mother or father or children or fields for my sake and for the sake of the good news, who will not get 100-fold now in this period of time, houses and brothers and sisters and mothers and children and fields, with persecutions, and in the coming system of things, everlasting life. However, many that are first will be last, and the last first. Now they were advancing on the road up to Jerusalem, and Jesus was going in front of them, and they felt amazement. But those who followed began to fear. Once again, he took the 12 aside and started to tell them these things destined to befall him. Here we are advancing up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be delivered to the chief priests and the scribes, and they will condemn him to death, and will deliver him to men of the nations, and they will make fun of him, and will spit upon him, and scourge him, and kill him, and 3 days later he will rise. And James and John and 2 sons of Zebedee stepped up to him and said to him, "Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever it is we ask you for." He said to them, "What do you want me to do for you?" They said to him, "Grant us to sit down, one at your right hand and one at your left, in your glory." But Jesus said to them, "You do not know what you are asking for. Are you able to drink the cup which I am drinking, or to be baptized with the baptism with which I am being baptized?" They said to him, "We are able." At that, Jesus said to them, "The cup I am drinking, you will drink, and with the baptism with which I am being baptized, you will be baptized. However, this sitting down at my right or at my left is not mine to give, but it belongs to those for whom it has been prepared." Well, when the 10 others heard about it, they started to be indignant at James and John. But Jesus, after calling them to him, said to them, "You know that those who appear to be ruling the nations lord it over them, and their great ones wield authority over them. This is not the way among you, but whoever wants to become great among you must be your minister, and whoever wants to be first among you must be the slave of all. For even the Son of Man came not to be ministered to, but to minister, and to give his soul a ransom in exchange for many." And they came into Jericho. But as he and his disciples and a considerable crowd were going out to Jericho, Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, a blind beggar, was sitting beside the road. When he heard that it was Jesus the Nazarene, he started shouting and saying, "Son of David, Jesus, have mercy on me." At this, many began sternly telling him to be silent, but he kept shouting that much more, "Son of David, have mercy on me." So Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." And they called the blind man, saying to him, "Take courage, get up, he is calling you." Throwing off his outer garment, he leaped to his feet and went to Jesus. And in answer to him, Jesus said, "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man said to him, "Rabboni, let me recover sight." And Jesus said to him, "Go, your faith has made you well." And immediately he recovered sight, and he began to follow him on the road.